Good morning, everyone. My name is Chris Martins. I am one of the members of the Truth and Reconciliation Committee here in Swift Current, and I am truly honored to be the MC for today's historic event, for the raising of the Treaty 4 flag and the Métis Nation flag as permanent fixtures here in our beautiful city of Swift Current. Some quick housekeeping notes for everyone. There are restrooms available at St. Olaf Church. They have very graciously opened up their facilities for us. And we would like to give thanks to Elder Cecile Blank, Métis elder, who had helped with the planning of this event, but could not be here today to join us for the flag raising. At this time, I would like to invite Elder Larry Oakes from Niconet First Nation to give blessings. And just as a reminder, during the blessing, there's no cameras or filming. At this time, I would actually like to now invite another Truth and Reconciliation Committee member here in Swift Current, and our representative from Swift Current City Council, Leanne Tuntland-Weed.
Thank you, Chris, and good morning to everyone. It's beautiful to see all these orange shirts out here, and it's such a beautiful morning for us to celebrate, so welcome to everyone, and especially welcome to our children from Central School. Welcome to this important ceremony during Truth and Reconciliation Week, which includes our country's first national holiday for Truth and Reconciliation on Thursday, September 30th. This day is set aside to commemorate the tragic legacy of residential schools in Canada. I would like to acknowledge that we are gathered here on Treaty 4 territory, the unceded ancestral lands of the Cree, Anishinabek, Dakota, Nakota, and Lakota Nations, and the homelands of the Métis people. On behalf of the city, I would like to welcome our special speakers this morning, who in order will be Chief Alvin Francis of the Niconet First Nation, the Honorable Everett Hindley, MLA for Swift Current, Treaty Commissioner for Saskatchewan, Mary Culbertson, Wendy Gervais, Representative for Western Region 3 and Minister of Veterans for the Métis Nation, Saskatchewan, and His Worship, Mayor Al Bridal for the City of Swift Current. Thank you, and please enjoy this morning.
Today's flag-raising event is a landmark occasion in the history of Swift Current and Southwest Saskatchewan as we give recognition to the region's past. In order to achieve reconciliation, a few basic things have to be done, and one of them is recognizing that it is Treaty 4 land and the land of the Métis Nation. The Swift Current and Area Truth and Reconciliation Committee felt it was important to have an event to mark the National Truth and Reconciliation Day as it brings to reality the call to action number 80 to establish a statutory holiday to commemorate the history and legacy of residential schools and to honor the survivors, their families, and communities. The Truth and Reconciliation Committee of Swift Current and Area are grateful to the City of Swift Current, one of the partners for this historic moment of raising Treaty 4 and Métis Nation flags. I would like the members of the Truth and Reconciliation Committee in Swift Current at this time to please raise their hands so that the people assembled here can recognize you and maybe have a conversation with you if you have any thoughts or ideas. So please, any members of the Truth and Reconciliation Committee in Swift Current, please raise your hand and give a wave so everyone can see. We know that the path to reconciliation is not going to be an easy journey. But the more people that join this journey and walk hand in hand together for the common purpose, the better the chances are of us achieving reconciliation sooner than later. With this note of optimism, let us now start the formal part of the day. I would like to invite the singers and drummers from Niconet First Nation to begin with the formal part of our ceremony. So please welcome Bradley Goodwill and Delvin Stanley of Niconet First Nation. Okay, so we will actually do the singing and drumming while we are doing the flag raising as well. So, to begin with, we would like to raise the Treaty 4 flag, and I would like to invite Elder Larry Oakes from the Niconet First Nation. Okay, well, that was fantastic, but we are actually now going to raise our second flag, the Métis Nation flag. And to do the flag raising, I would like to introduce Wendy Gervais, the Minister of Veterans, Regional Representative, Western Region 3 of Métis Nation, Saskatchewan. And if I could, I'd actually like to call Mitch Giroux up to do some fiddling as we raise the flag. He is here. He's right there. Yeah, I see him. We have a request for the Ron Oak to please come up and raise the flag as well. At this time, I would like to now invite our dignitaries as they have some speeches prepared. So at first, I would please like to invite Chief Alvin Francis from Niconet First Nation.
He's a little taller than I. No, I thank you for honoring this day here, for honoring the treaty flag, Treaty 4 flag, and the Métis flag here, because it's, you may as well say it's been a long time coming to honor the Treaty 4 area here, because we signed treaty back in 1874, which is a long time, and it's we're honoring our ancestors because we've managed to survive what has been given to us through the authorities of the Canadian government. And we're very proud to stand here today. There's another community just down over here, Wood Mountain. I wish they were here to represent themselves also, because they're not actually far from here, but we're probably the same distance in Wood Mountain. I wish that, you know, that this could have been done a long time ago, you know, which to honor our people, because Treaty 4 has been around for a long time, and we need to know that we are just people. And the flag here was actually drawn by former chief, my adopted dad, Gordon Oakes. And those meanings, when they signed treaty, the rivers flow, the grass grows, and the sun shines, those are very simple words to actually live by. They were very smart back then when they signed treaty, you know, because they knew that meant an eternity. And when that treaty was signed, well, I never understood as a kid what it meant to be a treaty person myself, because we were given stories, but it was just a simple stories of how we lived and how we survived being in the southwest part Because there is some tragic history in the Cypress Hills where 16 First Nations lived at one time, which they were forcibly moved. But we were honored by our ranchers, our friends in the Southwest, in the Cypress Hills. They gave us land to stay. Because Chief Niconet and his 50 followers were actually given land because he was hardworking, very, very tenacious, and wanted to stay in the Cypress Hills because we have stories of where there's actually creation stories up there. So it's important that we always continue these stories that we are passed on with our children. So, and I'm very honored to see this flag flying, the Métis flag flying here, because it's time that we recognize each other. I'm going to give you a simple story that I was given by our adopted dad, late Gordon Oakes. He was a former chief of Niconet. He talked about a team of horses and a wagon. He said how we got to be as First Nations and non-First Nations is going together. If you ever seen a team of horses not working together, he says that's not the way it's supposed to be. But if you ever seen a team of horses working in unison, that's where we have to be. He gave that simple story of us working together to make the future better for all that are here in Canada, because that's how we should be moving forward, in unison. Because I want my children, my grandchildren, and yet the unborn to be equal, walk hand in hand with each other. That's where we need to be. So those simple stories, that's the message I'd like to carry to tell you, is that we must work together. I've always been told, make this a better world than you came into it. So that's what I'm trying to do, because it's important that I represent the youth and yet the unborn, to make sure that they know I'm trying hard for them. I too would like to see 100% employment, of economic development, creating jobs for our people, because that's the most important part. Because today, without money, we don't go anywhere, because that's the world that we live in. And we must work together. We don't have a choice in the matter, because I always like to say this: you're not going anywhere and I'm not going anywhere. So let's walk hand in hand. Let's make this a better world for all. Let's make an understanding that we can actually talk to each other, say hello. There's nothing wrong with saying hello. A good wave, the country wave, country living, make it possible to talk to each other. We're just the same as you are. We live and breathe the same air. I want to see us get along to the point where we can actually just say good morning to each other. It's such a simple message, a simple way of living. We've got to get rid of that fear of each other. We always want, in Maple Creek, I can walk along the town of Maple Creek and actually know who I'm saying hello to. Good morning, how are you? Nice day today, eh? You know, we have that. Swift Current, I encourage you, please welcome the First Nations to the city of Swift Current, because it's always important that we get along and we make this a better world for all. So that's my simple message. So thank you. Hi, hi.
Next dignitary, I would like to invite to the microphone the Honourable Everett Hindley, MLA for Swift Current.
Thanks, Chris, and thanks everyone for being here today. I'd just like to acknowledge a few of our dignitaries who have joined us here today. Of course, Chief Francis, good to see you again, sir. It's actually not that long ago since we last ran into each other. We were having some government meetings in Cypress Hills in a provincial park earlier this summer, and the Chief came to our government caucus and delivered some very similar and heartwarming remarks on behalf of the Niconet First Nations. So to Chief Francis, Mary Culbertson, Commissioner of the Office of the Treaty Commissioner, good to see you here again today. Wendy Gervais, Minister of Veterans, Regional Representative for Western Region 3 of the Métis Nation of Saskatchewan. Of course, His Worship, Mayor Al Bridal. I know there's other city councillors here today participating and in the crowd. I also want to acknowledge our singers and musicians and dancers for their performances here this morning. I'm going to start missing people here, unfortunately. First Nations leaders, our elders, and of course, and I before I forget, Bula and her team at Great Plains Regional College for helping to organize this year's event once again, and for ensuring that we've had just absolutely beautiful weather here this morning for the flag raising ceremonies. If I could just touch on just briefly, it's my honor to be here as the MLA for Swift Current, and on behalf of the Government of Saskatchewan for today's flag raising ceremony and event here in Swift Current, as we lead up to this Thursday, September 30th, the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation across Canada. And there are a number of actions being taken across this province, across this country, to acknowledge that day. I'll just speak briefly to what's happening here from the provincial government. And on Thursday, September 30th, the Government of Saskatchewan will lower its flags in all provincial government buildings and establishments to half-mast to recognize the day. Folks may have heard earlier this summer the Minister of Government Relations, First Nation and Métis Affairs, the Honourable Don McMorris, committing $2 million towards the research and recovery of undocumented graves, which is a very challenging period in all of our past, but we are committed as a province to making sure that we can help our First Nations and Métis friends and partners throughout this. There's a number of other actions that have been taken by the government. Finally, something that I hope that we see a little bit later this week. You would have heard earlier in the news that the Government of Saskatchewan will be establishing a residential school memorial to be located at Government House in Regina. And with any luck, hopefully a little bit later this week, the Lieutenant Governor of Saskatchewan, the Honourable Russ Morasti, will be unveiling the design of that memorial publicly. So I think they're nearing the finishing stages of that, and that will be an important chapter as part of this as well. And we look forward to his honors and unveiling of the design of that very important memorial, which is here and will be located in our capital city in Saskatchewan. So with that, I just want to again thank everyone for being here today, and recognize that besides the folks that you see here seated up at the front, I look out into the crowd and I see a lot of community leaders across Swift Current and Southwest Saskatchewan, and I just want to thank you for the work that you are doing to help acknowledge this important day. Thanks once again.
Next up, I would like to invite the Commissioner of the OTC, Mary Culbertson.
Good morning, everyone, and good morning to all our leadership and our colleagues here from across the province and in our First Nations. My name is Mary Culbertson. I am from the Kizikus First Nation in Treaty 4. I am Anishinabek, and I am very honored to be here today. The Treaty 4 flag is a symbol of great progress when it's being put up in our towns and cities. I am from Kamsack area, Pelly. That's where my First Nation is. And we haven't even had a first conversation about what reconciliation is going to look like in our area. We're working on it and it's going to happen very soon. But people always think that there's nothing going on in Swift Current. And so when I get the opportunity, I let them know about what's going on. I let them know about the college and Beulah and their great work and the school division and my good friend there who just retired not long ago, and the work that is happening here. About coming here 2 years ago for Orange Shirt Day, and I couldn't believe the sea of orange shirts at the high school. And there was a blizzard that time, so thankfully I got to stay an extra day, and I spent it at the high school as well and with the college. And there was so many conversations to be had. As treaty people, a lot of people don't understand what that means. My ancestors on my mom's side, on my Anishinabek, my Soto side, they agreed to share the land. And they always say, all our elders and First Nations say they never gave up anything. The commissioners who were dispatched from Queen Victoria 150 years ago this year to begin negotiating the numbered treaties. Alexander Morris was the first commissioner who said these things will last as long as the sun shines, the grass grows, and the rivers flow. And these treaties are meant to be with all the people from the Red River to the Rocky Mountains. And we have to remember that 150 years ago, May 21st comes every year, and we celebrate Queen Victoria's birthday. We take that day off. It's a statutory holiday across provinces, across school divisions, across the country. But yet we don't talk about this was the Queen that dispatched commissioners and lieutenant governors to negotiate treaties. We don't talk about the treaties when we celebrate May 21st. When we celebrate, or commemorate, I should say, we can celebrate our resilience as First Nations and Indigenous people, but we have to commemorate, as non-Indigenous people, the sacrifices that were made in order for this country to be built. That there is graves that our elders said were always there, but those are now being uncovered. Children died and never came home, and that has to be taught in our schools. No matter how sensitive we may feel that it is, this information has to be there because it cannot be forgotten. When we wear orange shirts on September 30th, some of us may be able to take that day off, some of us may be able to have to work, but we should remember those children who never came home. We should remember the people who went to those residential schools. Some of them, their entire lives, they were spent there until they were about 16 and then got kicked out because you couldn't go past a grade 8 education in a residential school. They taught you to sew, how to cook, how to clean. They taught the boys how to farm. They didn't mean for our people to be doctors, to be lawyers, to be engineers. They didn't want people to be leaders. And it was all part of the whole plan of what residential schools fed into, and that was assimilation, and it was genocide. We have to commemorate those things that made this country. While many of us prosper and are wealthy, others of us are suffering yet today from the generational legacy that our grandparents had to endure, that were handed down to our parents' generation, to my cousin's generation, to my aunts, to my uncles. I'm only the first generation in my family to not have to go to residential school. I'm a lawyer. I am the first lawyer from my nation, and I am the first woman treaty commissioner in 150 years. And it took us that long to get here. And it took us 147 years for this flag, the treaty relationship, to be acknowledged here with the treaty partners. So when people say there's nothing happening in Swift Current, I'm very proud to say, but there is. And they're surprised. Right? Because as Chief Alvin said, there is not a very good history from the Cypress Hills and the First Nations that were removed. Many of those First Nations were displaced to never come back to their traditional territories. Last week I was fortunate enough to be at a pipe ceremony with the Moosomin First Nation elders and a Mosquito elder. And they took us to a place that overlooks the U.S. border. So you look down from this hill and the U.S. is right there. And they were doing some videos to put this into their school curriculum to teach their children in their nations, this is where we used to come from. This is where we used to do ceremonies. My granddaughter, her people are from Wood Mountain, and she came from a family that was ashamed of who they were. So teaching her parents and her about being proud, about being Lakota people, is something we have a lot of work to do. She's not going to hear about it in her school unless we as citizens of this province and our governments make sure that that information is there. I encourage you all here to learn about the Cypress Hills and the First Nations that traditionally use that land, that traditionally live there, to learn about the massacre that happened with the wolf hunters who killed women and children of the Nakota Nation. To learn about that shared history, because it is not a nice history, but we can make our history going forward a good history. When we learn about each other, when we talk with each other, and we want better lives for everybody. So with that, I'd like to say miigwech. Thank you for inviting me here to participate today. Because when I got the invitation that said Treaty 4 flag would be going up at Swift Current permanently, and the Métis flag, I said, yeah, I'm there. And I had to turn down a lot of things today. This was my priority because you need to be celebrated, you need to be supported in the work that you're doing, and we need to encourage each other to keep doing that work. So learn about your neighbors, learn about our histories, because at the end of the day, we're going to be okay. We weren't the ones that were suffered. Our ancestors did, our grandparents, our aunts, our uncles. We need to fix the history of this nation going forward. We can't fix what happened, but we can sure learn from it. And we can understand why things are the way they are in our nations, why we see poverty, why we see addiction. Right? And our Minister of Mental Health here, I know he has a big job on his plate when we have all this intergenerational legacy that's flowed into our communities, our towns, and that's the reality of things on First Nations today. So I encourage you please to learn about it, to understand, because like Chief Alvin said, we're not going anywhere. Right, you're here, I'm here, we're all here. Big Rich.
Our next speaker, I would like to welcome up to the microphone Wendy Gervais, the Minister of Veterans, Regional Representative of Western Region 3, Métis Nation, Saskatchewan.
Thank you very much. Chief Francis, I get it. Okay. Conche, bon matin. Hello and good morning, everyone. I've got some tough acts to follow here. As I was sitting back, listening to the other guest speakers, a few thoughts came to my mind. Before I go any further about those thoughts, I want to take a couple moments. And I first of all want to thank and acknowledge the Creator for allowing us to be on this land. I want to thank and acknowledge all of the leadership here today to honor and celebrate these two flags being raised. I want to thank and acknowledge all the citizens of Swift Current who have come out to attend today. Our elders, our seniors. But the most important people I want to thank today are those children sitting right over there. And I think we need to give them a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. I thank those children over here because we are here today to honor, to celebrate September 30th, the National Day of Truth and Reconciliation. And I listened to my fellow leader here, Commissioner Culbertson, and she really spoke to the fact about education. Driving here, I was trying to put together a speech in my mind, and you know, like we all do. And I made a decision that the Creator would give me what to speak when I stood here. And as I looked around, and I see the sea of orange, as I watched that Treaty 4 flag being raised, I watched with pride, because that's part of my people. As I watched that Métis Nation flag being raised, I almost wept. Because it's been over 200 years in this region that our people have walked this region, that we've lived within this region. You know, over the last 4 years, I've had the honor, the true honor, to be in this community, to be in the communities in the Southwest, to meet many Métis Nation citizens. Citizens who sat in front of me and cried. Our seniors, our old ones, talked about how they feel about coming back to the nation. They feel like they're claiming something they don't deserve because we've been hidden as a nation. After 1885, when our leader was hanged, and I tell those old ones, you're not stealing anything. You are reclaiming. You are reclaiming your identity. I've had the opportunity to talk to several Métis citizens here today. And thank you. I welcome you on behalf of Western Region 3, Métis Nation of Saskatchewan. These little ones here, they're the leaders. They're our future. And so when we speak about truth and reconciliation, I'm an educator. That's why I love you guys so much, okay? And truth comes through education. So I think that's every one of us here that's here at this special event today. I think that's our goal, is to speak the truth, to learn the truth, to understand the truth. Not to point fingers at people. Just as Chief Francis said, we're here. We're not going away. So we need to really find a way of how we're going to work together. We have to educate our young ones. Educate each other. Understand. That's the truth. Reconciliation will follow through actions. And the truth isn't easy. I'm an instructor at Sask Polytech as well, and this is what I teach. And I tell my adult leaders, many who have little ones like that, that in time, I as the leader will hand over that torch. And it's up to the little ones, to the young ones, to teach. It's up to us to work together. I have never been so more proud than to watch that flag, that Métis Nation flag, being raised today. Because as a nation, we have been laughed at, pushed down. We've been told we're not a people, we're not a nation. We are a people, we are a nation. That flag up there, that infinity flag states that. We're a nation that will go on forever and ever, just as the treaties. And I think it's important that people understand the Métis Nation, our citizens, we're a distinct and unique culture, just like any other Indigenous nation. And we need to embrace that. We need to learn about it. We as Métis people need to learn who we are. Just as many of our Indigenous nations, some of us have lost that identity. And I'm so proud and honored to be here today, to have that opportunity to make these connections to each and every one of us. I am physically located in Regina. I have a huge, large southwest corner of Saskatchewan that I'm ultimately responsible for. But I always have my heart, my mind, and my doors open for anyone to give me a call. I know I've reached out to City Hall already. I've said I'm more than willing to come in, present a PowerPoint about who we are as a nation, who we are as a people, because I want those young ones over there, and I can guarantee you there's probably several of them that are Métis. And I want those young ones to be proud of who they are, so that 40 years from now, they're standing up here just like we are, and they're honoring these flags. I also would like to take a moment to thank my local president, Ron Woke, who came here today to help raise that flag. This has been one of his dreams. I would also like to send an apology on behalf of our Métis senior who's been part of this to help make this a reality, Cecile Blanc. But now we're starting to get to that point where it's time for us to step back, and it's time for community to dig in, for community to work side by side. So on that note, I want to say thank you. I'm honored to be here. And any time that you need a conversation, or any time that you want to knock on my door or reach out, please feel free to. Thank you, Marcy. language.
Move this up a little bit. Last but certainly not least, I would like to welcome to the microphone the Mayor of the City of Swift Current, the Honorable Al Bridal.
Could I make a short joke, or would that be inappropriate? I won't, other than that. Anyway, good morning. I would like to start by saying how honored I am to have this opportunity to participate in this very special ceremony today. Today we are gathered together to celebrate a celebration of community, of bringing people together, of recognition and reconciliation. We're here to acknowledge the tragedies of the past, tragedies from which scars still remain and from which new wounds are still being opened up. While we cannot take these tragedies back, we can stand together and ensure that history does not repeat itself ever. That begins by taking steps, such as the one we are taking today, and it only happens if we do this together as a community. On behalf of the City of Swift Current Council and the city itself, it's truly an honor to be raising both the Treaty 4 over here and the Métis flag that are flying behind me. To be raising these flags this morning. This has been a long time coming, and I have a number of people to thank this morning for making this possible. I would like to start by thanking our Southwest Truth and Reconciliation Committee. Your dedicated efforts, not only in support of this event, but in your ongoing dedication to bringing truth and reconciliation to our community and region, have been exceptional. I would also like to acknowledge and thank our distinguished guests, and I hope I don't miss anyone. Treaty Commissioner of Saskatchewan, Mary Culbertson. Niconet First Nation, Chief Alvin Francis. Niconet Elders, Larry Oates and Dale Mosquito. Minister of Veterans, Western Region 3, Métis Nation, Saskatchewan, Wendy Gervais. Swift Current Member of the Legislative Assembly, the Honourable Everett Hindley. Councillor Leanne Tunlin-Weave. Our MC for today, Chris Martins. Thank you very much, Chris. And our greeters, Ashley and Tanisha. I'd also like to thank our drummers. I really enjoyed that. Thank you for coming today and helping us mark this important milestone in our community and our country. We are honored for this opportunity to join with you in celebration today. I would like to thank our partnering organizations for supporting and participating in this event, including, again, a long list, I hope I don't miss anybody. The Office of Western Region 3, Métis Nation, Saskatchewan. The Chinook School Division. Great Plains College. Innovation Credit Union. The Living Sky Casino. The Multicultural Council of Saskatchewan. The Southwest Newcomers Welcome Center. Pioneer Co-op. Saskatchewan Lotteries, the Southwest Multicultural Association, and our local Truth and Reconciliation Committee members. I've said it before, and I will say it again. We reach our greatest heights when we work together. I would like to thank all the attendees here today. It is great to see a number of young people here with us from Central School. And like's been mentioned earlier today, it's vitally important that we include you in this truth and reconciliation, as it will be you that will be asked to carry this torch into the future and make sure you do better than my generation, because this has been 64 years coming for my generation. Again, thank you for everyone that is here today. This is a very important step for our community and is one I am honored to be taking part of. Thank you.
At this time, we will now be participating in a round dance. So you are more than welcome to participate in the round dance as well. You, of course, entirely up to you if you want to join. If you feel comfortable, you can wear masks. Disposable gloves are available as well too. But the dance itself will be led by Elder Larry Oakes and members of the Niconet First Nation.
Yeah, Dale's going to lead the round dance. Join in.
All right, perfect.
It is hard on the knees and the hips. You really gotta get the knees and the hips limber.
Yeah, just hold hands and dance the way Dale danced.
Do what Dale does.
Yeah, hold hands.
This side.
Yeah, we're going to go down.
Okay. I'll stay back.
Because of the social distancing.
Without holding hands? Okay. I guess we
yourself a round of applause.
Okay, thank you.
That was awesome. Thank you very much.
All right, so just some information for everybody. There is some additional events happening over at the Kiwanis Park there. They have the big Truth and Reconciliation sign just over the park. It's right by St. Olaf's Church. We will be doing a number of events there, including some fiddling and some dancing as well too. We will be handing out berries. The Newcomer Welcome Center will be doing so, which is traditional practice with flag raising. So as we make our way down the sidewalk here, the City of Swift Current and the RCMP will be assisting with the crossing of the street, as there's a significant number of folk here. So make your way down the street here to the crosswalk by the downtown Swift Current sign, and then make your way across the street to Kiwanis Park, where our events will be taking place. We will be handing out berries as you go across there. I'd like to say thank you, or Miigwech, and Marcy as well too, in the native Cree and Michif language. And outside of that, I would like to actually invite Bula Ghosh up to the microphone to do some sponsor recognition as well too. So please give a round of applause for our head of the Truth and Reconciliation Committee here in Swift Current, Bula Ghosh. Anyone want to play the game Where is Bula? Bula Ghosh.
It is just for the Truth and Reconciliation Committee, this is the day we dreamt of, and you all made it come true. Miigwech, Marcy, thank you. Merci beaucoup. We are so happy that we could have this accomplished with all your support. But we couldn't have done it alone, so we have a lot of people to thank. I will go in alphabetical order. Chinook Regional Library, Chinook Regional School, City of Swift Current, Dr. B.R. Data, Elizabeth Heathcote, Great Plains College, Innovation Credit Union, Lisa and Sam Semanuk, Living Sky Casino, Wendy Gervais, Minister of Veterans, Regional Representative of Western Region 3, Métis Nation, Saskatchewan, Multicultural Council of Saskatchewan. We have Rhonda here also acknowledging us with her presence from Regina. Farmer Save has been always a great supporter. Pioneer Co-op, who has also started our first year of support. Thank you very much. Saskatchewan Lotteries, as always. Buy lottery tickets when you can. You're never a loser. If you don't win, you support art, culture, and recreation. And Southwest Multicultural Association. Thank you, everybody. I hope you will proceed to the Kiwanis Park and enjoy the entertainment and celebrate the day. It's a great day of celebration for the two flags to be. I'm standing in between these two flags. It means history to me. Thank you.
Okay, that's our formal presentation here at the Flag Park. So we can now. Oh yes. We also do have one event we wanted to remind you of as well too. Later on this evening, the Southwest Newcomer Welcome Center is presenting a Reconciliation concert. It is in the spirit of Truth and Reconciliation. There will be a cultural intelligence performance happening at Market Square between 7 and 9 p.m. tonight. So please make sure you have your COVID guidelines in place, but we do encourage you to please come and check it out. There's a lot of exciting things happening, part of which you may be able to see here today as well too, to kind of get a little teaser of tonight. So please, we do welcome you to make your way down to Kiwanis Park. There will be berries handed out from the Newcomer Welcome Center as well. And last but most certainly not least, thank you. Thank you to everybody that made their way out today and helped celebrate this historic event in Swift Current. Thank you.